What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to Powered by Primus. I'm Jamie, and in today's video we're going to be showing off Firecons. Now, I do have a couple of different versions of this that I'm really excited to show you guys about. A lot of people have been asking me about Firecons. They're new, everybody wants to mess around with them, so I'm going to be showing them off. But before we do get into today's video, I want to just talk about a couple of things real quick. First thing was that I guess the shipping on the website for some orders was like really ridiculous. I had multiple emails about it being crazy priced. I did get all of it fixed, so if it was holding you back from placing an order, go ahead and head back over there and go ahead and pick up whatever you need. Like I said, the shipping went from like $20 for most people down to like $3 or $4, so it is super cheap now to be able to get that stuff as well. And I don't remember the second thing, so let's get into the build, because that is why we are here. Now, the first one coming in here is going to be Raider Flamefeather. Now, this is a very interesting character, and I'm not going to lie when I say that I absolutely love the design of it. Now, all of these characters have really low damage, which we'll get into the build more with that later on, but all of them are going to come in packing some pretty low stats. 3 attack, 11 health, and 1 armor. But the really cool part about this character while in this mode, it says that when this is defending and you flip battle cards, he gets +1 armor for each orange pip among them, up to 5. So you can really get this guy up to actually to 6 armor on a defense in an all orange deck, and to be honest with you, that is absolutely insane, and it's something that they haven't done with this game before. Most of the time when you're running an all orange list, you just become useless on defense, and your opponent gets their chance to really beat you back up because they have no idea that you have blue in your deck or whatever else. Where in this one, it really benefits you, and these characters are so heavily relying on orange pips. I absolutely love this ability on this character. Now, when you flip into this other mode, each of your Firecons get bold 1 until end of turn. We will be flipping into this character every once in a while, so this is a relevant piece. When we get over here to our Sergeant Stalker, man, all these guys, they just like, ooh, the twist tongue. It comes in with 4 attack, 10 health, and 2 armor. And when this attacks and you flip at least 3 orange battle icons, you get to draw 2 cards. Now, the way that this does work, as soon as you do flip your cards, because you are supposed to flip before your opponent defends, you flip all of your cards for your attack based on your bold, however, a white pip, whatever the case is. After you're done flipping, and before your opponent flips on defense, you go ahead and proc that draw 2. Flip it over to this other side. When you flip to this mode, you get to scrap an enemy armor. It really synergizes well with what you're supposed to be doing, because obviously we're going to be pushing so much damage that armor is going to be really annoying for us. So being able to flip to this mode to break an armor is going to be really cool. And then the big hitter, the really awesome one, a Raider Cindersword coming in here. Again, really low on that damage, 3 damage, 12 health, and 1 armor. But it has the cool effect that says when this attacks and you flip at least 4 oranges, you get to do 2 damage to a tapped enemy. Now, you do have choice of a tapped enemy, so if your opponent has multiples tapped down, which is usually the case because we're throwing these 2 before we get to throw Cindersword out, so that you have a picking between who is left. It might be really nice because you might be able to attack into one character and then finish off a tapped character off of this ability, which is really awesome. And then if you happen to get multiple procs with this ability, then you're really in a good spot. Now, when we flip over into this mode, he again keeps that 4 attack, 1 armor, and it says when you flip to this mode, you may play an orange pipped action. Now, that does include a double pip orange action as well. As long as it has a orange action, then you are totally fine. Now, this ability is really nice, and we're going to be using a few cards in the list that are really going to take advantage of flipping over into this mode, but this is the character lineup. Now, I did tell you that we were going to have 2 different versions, and that's because Lionizer is definitely an option. I will be honest with you, this guy for me is kind of lackluster. Now, he's really fun to play with the Firecons as a themed thing. So if you are wanting to keep it a little more casual, a little more fun, then I would definitely tell you to keep him in. Now, if you want to up the power level just a little bit, then I would go with Private Lionizer, who himself has bold 4. Now, when you flip over to this mode, you do get bold 4 and plan 1. We're obviously going to be trying to put this onto our Cindersword because he's really trying to get the most orange pips out, which is really nice on him. And then being able to plan, obviously put a couple of double orange battle icons on top of your deck, which we'll get into here in just a little bit. He can be very powerful, and then we have a card to bring him back if our opponent does respond to it as well, so he can really just put out a lot of damage by himself. Now, it also isn't attached to a much smaller body. You do lose a little bit of health, which 2 health, but your opponent will still have to spend a turn going into the character, which is really nice. So we'll always be throwing him out first, and then we throw out the Flamefeather after that, and then hopefully by then the Lionizer should be dead, and we get to put it onto our Cindersword. We also have a really fun interaction to make our Lionizer kind of join the KO area all by himself and go over there. So we'll get into that later on. Like I said, this is another option you can do. It does change up the battle deck a little bit because you do get access to one more star, which we'll get into in the list. I'm going to be showing you guys the version with Stalker first, and then when we get to the specific cards, I will tell you where I would make my swap to be able to fit in this little pretty kitty and go from there. Our first action coming in is going to be Peace Through Tyranny. Now, Peace Through Tyranny is awesome. It is a double orange battle icon card. Like I said, these guys really want to be pushing as much damage as possible. And then we obviously have one character who has to flip 3 orange battle icons to get his proc, and then we have Senator who needs to flip 4 orange battle icons in order to get his proc, and obviously the only way for you to do that is to get a white pip and then also a double orange or get some crazy bold, which we'll get into here in just a second. The other really cool part about this one specifically with Mr. Lionizer here is that if your opponent chooses not to finish him off, which is sometimes really relevant for your opponent, and even for yourself if you're going up against another Lionizer, obviously he's very dangerous by himself, but he does have 0 attack, so maybe your opponent's getting 4 or 5 attack off of him, but they're most likely wanting him obviously to go over to the weapon side so they can really beat you up with him. So sometimes your opponent will definitely try to avoid KOing the character. Cool part with Peace Through Tyranny is that you get to KO the character and then take an additional turn. Now once you get to KO that character, you get to equip it to a character, you get to take a turn, and then you get to take another turn. So sometimes that can be really relevant, especially with Lionizer. Early game, you attack with this on turn 1, turn 2, you play your Peace Through Tyranny, move this over, and then both of your Firecons get to attack is really, really strong. Next card coming as a 2 of is going to be Reckless Charge. Now, Reckless Charge is actually a very dangerous card in this list, and it definitely follows the name really well. Now, you do get +4 until end of turn, which is really nice, but then at the end of turn, you do 3 damage to yourself. Now, a cool part is if you do come through the reset, your opponent hasn't finished off Lionizer, and he does have, let's say, 2 or 3 health left, you get to play this Reckless Charge. Now, he has 4 bold 4, and then he becomes really dangerous, and at the end of turn, this might KO him, which is really, really nice. Next card coming as a 3 of is going to be System Reboot. Now this card has a lot of talk about it, and I want to tell you guys my part when it comes to an aggressive list with this. If I was playing a control deck or something that is literally trying to take a little more pace to it, really trying to slow things down, I do not recommend System Reboot. However, in a very aggressive deck, especially with Firecons because they are so fragile, you have to play something that really can refresh your hand. And Work Overtime is always people's normal go-to, but to be honest with you, Work Overtime maybe draws you 2, even maybe sometimes draws you 3, but it's really never good enough. Whereas System Reboot, especially sometimes if your opponent is sitting on really nice cards, or you just watch them pick up a green pip card, this is really good to make them scrap those. Yes, it does give them 4 cards, but like I said, with Firecons, you are 100% all in or you will lose. They are, like I said, a glass house. Your goal with the characters is to turn sideways and try to just bash your opponent as fast as possible. And the reason for this card is to be able to get us more weapons, more action, so we are constantly pumping out damage, constantly getting bold. If you get a turn where you don't play a damage buff or a static buff or play a weapon, you are in probably a lot of trouble. You're taking a lot of damage and you're only putting out 4 to 5 damage, which with Wave 3's launch and where we are now is not enough damage. So this card is very specific to be able to get more cards into our hand. Not to mention it is a white battle icon card, so when we do attack, we get to flip 2 more additional cards. I do believe I'm running 8 or 9 whites in the list, and it is a very solid number. I feel like for the most part, I'm getting them when I need them to on the attack flips, which is really powerful. Next card coming as a 3 of, and is going to be from Wave 3, is going to be Frag Toss. Now this is a white battle icon card. Again, for the same purpose, when we get to attack, we get to flip 2 additional cards. And then has the fun ability, it says that your opponent chooses one of their characters and does 1 damage to it. If you begin the game with all Decepticons, which we do if you do run the original 3 Firecons. Dun, 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 dun. If you do run all 3 of these, then you get to do 1 more additional damage. Now, even if you do swap out Stalker for Lionizer, I will tell you the card's not bad because it does essentially act as a zap, but does give you the white pip, which is not bad. Now, we'll get into the sideboard and some other things that you can possibly do to switch this card out if you choose to go with Lionizer, but this card is really nice with this team because it does do 2 damage to your opponent. Next card coming is a 3 of and a fun one is going to be Rollout. Now, Rollout was something that I instantly saw when it came to talking about these guys because of all their fun abilities. Well, I guess we'll start them this way so I can show you guys kind of the process of how I do it. So with this list, and for you to really optimize and maximize what you're going to be doing, you're going to be flipping Flame Feather first. Now the reason behind this is because normally I would want to flip this guy to be able to draw 2 cards, but you have to really hope that there's a double orange or a white on top of your deck to really get it, because if you don't and you miss this proc, you're in a really bad spot. We never throw Cinderstorm first because he's definitely our primary damage dealer, and if he goes down early, we're just in a lot of trouble. So you always want to flip to this side, and then you get to attack with this character. Now once you get to attack, obviously your opponent has to go into him, where now the armor part of it gets to really give you some benefits to it, and it will let him soak up some damage. It's pretty rare that he'll die from one straight attack, even from something like a Battlefield Prime that's attacking with 14 damage. You will usually survive with 1 or 2, which is really nice. And then on our second turn, we're ready to play a card to upgrade a character, maybe get bold. We'll get to get in with this guy here. We'll get to draw some cards off of it. Turn 3, we'll get to flip over Cinderstorm, and we'll get to crack him with him, do all of his good stuff. But when it comes to the refresh, which is where the fun part begins with rollout. With this refresh, all of our characters obviously in this mode, we're going to play that rollout. Now once we get to flip all of our characters, we get to proc their abilities however we choose to. Now obviously if our opponent has an armor, we're going to break one of those armors. All of our Firecons get bold 1, until end of turn. And then he allows us to play an orange action, which then allows you to play another action. Most of our actions are orange, so we don't get to lose playing our action for the turn, and then we still have access to a flip for the turn. Now this is also not and always have to do with the refresh, but it is really nice to be able to get some of these abilities and kind of reset your characters at this point if you have to do it, because like I said, armor, or if you want to be able to still play this, get the bold for whatever reason, and then also play a reckless charge, whatever the case may be. That is the point of a rollout. Not to mention, it's always good to have at least 1 blue in the deck. It doesn't hurt us because it's attached to an orange, so maybe we'll even get to defend 1 damage and survive once. Talking about bold, we're going to be coming in here with Supercharge. Now, Supercharge, always really awesome from Wave 1. Orange Pip does give us bold 3. Like I said, these guys have to have bold when they're attacking. It is pretty important. Unlike the Dinobots that really benefit from bold, these guys require bold to then benefit. So it's really interesting the way that it's done like that. I really like it. You guys are going to be seeing some gameplay between Firecons and Dinobots, because we're going to have some really cool matches with those. But being able to give bold 3 to all your characters is obviously really nice, especially for Cinderstorm, who's got to flip those 4 oranges. Coming in as a 2 of is going to be Incoming Transmission. Incoming Transmission, always a good card. Lets us draw 2 and put 1 back on top of our deck. Really gets to let us get rid of those double orange battle icon cards late game, or even early game if we're trying to set up for, that 3 proc or the 4 proc. It's really nice, plus obviously it has an orange pip. Next one coming as a 2 of is going to be Treasure Hunt. Now, like I said before, there's specific weapons that we want to get. We always want to be pushing damage every single turn. So Treasure Hunt is one of those cards. It does a lot like System Reboot does. Allows us to scrap the top 4 of our deck and put any upgrades into our hand. Like I said, we want all of the weapons. And then last coming as a 1 of is going to be Ramming Speed. Just to obviously scrap any enemy upgrades. Weaponizers are a really big thing coming into this wave. There's a bunch of new armors, a bunch of new weapons, there's a bunch of new stuff, so it's really nice to always have that card in your back pocket to always get rid of any of those things. Now, even with most weapons, such as Lionizer, even if you get his ability, even if your opponent gets him, they will always be able to get the proc off of the weapon the first time. There's nothing you can do about it. That's one of my biggest things about weapons versus armor, is that weapons proc first, armors proc second. So even if your opponent does get it, they're going to always be able to have it, so you can't really respond to a weapon right away, but at least you can take it out so you don't have to worry about it on the next turn. So that's always one really good thing. But like I said, there's a lot of new upgrades with Wave 3, so that card's going to be coming in big. Getting into the upgrade side of things, first thing's going to be coming in is going to be Grenade Launcher. Like I said, talking about weapons, talking about damage, there's no better card to look at. It is an orange battle icon card, gives us +4 attack until end of turn, and this card is scrapped at the end of the attack. So literally as soon as you tap sideways, most people always leave it out and sometimes forget about it. It's okay if you do that, as long as by the end of the attack it is gone. But as soon as you attack and you flip your cards, this card is supposed to go away. Is going to be Power Punch. It does have an orange battle icon. It does give us bolt 3 until end of turn, which is always super powerful. Next one coming in here is going to be Improvise Shield. Now, Improvise Shield is a double orange battle icon card, primarily while it's in the list, and does give us tough 1. Now, I want to show you guys something pretty interesting, and it pertains to this side here. Like I said, he gets +1 defense for each orange you flip when it comes to defending. It's never really that good to ever play on a character. We want to be trying to plan it with Incoming Transmission or whatever else the case may be. Always trying to scrap it, get it out of our hand for a green pip or something, so we can always cycle it back into the deck. But if push comes to shove and you have to play it, putting tough 1 onto this character is actually pretty awesome. And a curveball coming in as a 2 of and an armor. It's going to be sparring gear. Now normally I would tell you that this ability isn't really good enough to warrant an armor being played in the deck, but much like improvised shield being an orange armor, sparring gear is also the same. Plus it is a green pip, which allows us to pick it up, which is the main reason why it's in there. It's going to be easy to get, and if we can put on this character, he's going to be able to block for 5 or 6 almost every single defense, really making sure that he gets to survive a lot, which is super, super powerful. Next card coming in as a 2 of is going to be the Firecon Flame. Now, a lot of people really say that you should run 3 of these, but to be honest with you, you will never have 3 out at the same time ever in a million years. Unless your game is going really slow, and then which case you've probably already lost because you should have won by that point. I don't know how else to say it, but you will not ever have 3 out, so I don't think running 3 is ever good. But running 2 is really nice because even if you can happen to get 1 down, you're looking at all of your Firecons getting bold 1, and then if you get 2 out, you're getting bold 2, which is going to be nice enough. Like I said, having the third, getting the third out, one of your characters will be going down early. Like I said, these guys are definitely very squishy as far as living, so you will always be losing one anyway. So I usually put this onto Cindersaur first because he's the last one to go down. Another thing you can do if you are really flipping a bunch on defense and do have the sparring gear, this is a really nice one to put on the Flame Feather because he is taking so much damage that this might last longer on him, so that is another thought as well. Next one coming as a 2 of, and a fun one is going to be the Anticipation Engine. Now, you guys did see that we have tons of action cards in our deck, so this is going to be able to proc quite a bit. I let it proc quite a bit. It is a white pip allowing us to flip 2 more on offense, which is really nice. But it is a weapon. All of our other weapons go away right away, so it's never like we have to fight over which weapon we want. So that's really good as well. And then it says, when the upgraded character attacks, you get to reveal the top of your deck. If it's an action, you may play it. Now I want to show you guys how this exactly works. Let's say that this is the top of my deck. I do attack with my character. All I do is reveal it. If in indeed fact, here we're going to flip over 2 more just in case. If indeed fact it is an action, we will immediately play the card, its effect, finish how it goes down. We will then put it off to the side in the play area like normal, and then we continue to flip our deck like normal. So, however, let's say the top of the deck is not. You attack, you reveal the top of the deck, it's a weapon, it is not an upgrade, or I'm sorry, not an action. All you do is flip it back over, and then you continue to flip your cards like your attack just like normal. Nothing changes, the card does not get scrapped, it doesn't go anywhere else, doesn't go to your hand, it just literally stays on top of the deck. So, just wanted to even that out for everybody who was curious, because I know that is always a really big question for a lot of people. Now, next one coming in as a 1 of is going to be Enforcement Batons. Talked about it with the ramming speed. There are lots of weaponizers and a lot of other things out there that are really good. So the Enforcement Batons allows us to scrap those. It does come with an orange and a green pip so we can fetch it, and then does give us +1 attack. Next card coming in as a 1 of is going to be Bashing Shield. Same thing, it's an armor, so it's really nice on Flame Feather. Allows us to break an armor, which is the main purpose of the card. If our opponent does have a really annoying armor that's getting in our way, we're going to be able to put this down, break that armor. It does give us +1 defense, and does have an orange and a green pip as well. And then finally coming in, because we do have 1-star available in the list, we get a Mounted Missile. Now the reason why I have Mounted Missile in here is because it is a double orange battle icon. Again, really always trying to push that damage. And then you can also put it in an armor or utility slot. So if you already have an Anticipation Engine on a character, you can put on there, or you can even put on a character in the utility or armor slot and still play that grenade launcher onto the same character and really push that damage, which is really, really nice. Now, when it comes to talking about Lionizer and putting him in here, I only recommend the Anticipation Engines if you're running the 3 Firecons. If you bring in Lionizer, the thing that I would first do is swap out a ramming speed from the action side of things, because we do still have a way to respond to either a weapon or armor with this. I would put it in the sideboard, and then I would be running a Mounted Missiles over that other character, over the other ramming speed, and that would give us access to now 2 more double orange battle icons that allow us to do this perk, which is really, really powerful. Now the card I'd be swapping Anticipation Engine for is going to be Quartermaster. Now we really want to be able to keep that white pip, which is really, really nice, and that does allow us to flip 2 more on attack. And it does have the ability where you can move and upgrade from one character to another. Maybe you'll be moving one of these if you have to bust another weapon. It's not really why we're going to be using the card, but it is there so in case. But it's going to be able to bring this back from our KO area onto a character. Now, obviously, after Lionizer gets KO'd, you're going to flip him, put him onto Cinder Store. We're going to do some stuff, but if our opponent has a ramming speed or enforcement batons of themselves or whatever they have, and it happens to scrap it, it can kind of suck. However, with Quartermaster, you get to bring that weapon right on back from the KO area back onto your Cinder Store and keep smashing for more damage. This card is absolutely awesome with Weapon Master. So like I said, if you do bring in Lionizer as your main character, swap out that mounted missile for a ramming speed, and then swap out the anticipation engine for the Quartermaster. First we got coming in is a 2-of is going to be Mining Pick. Always a really good card, orange battle icon. It is a weapon. It does allow us to plan 2, and every time that we do plan a card, including with putting a card on top of the deck with incoming transmission, we do get +1. So if you do plan 2 with this, you do get +3 till end of turn, and then the next turn you get the same plans, yada yada yada. Now, the next 2 coming in are going to be from the new wave, and that is going to be Heat of Battle. Now, these are a white battle icon card, so we get to flip 2 more when it comes to attacking, but it's designed for an aggro versus aggro matchup. This is really powerful when you're going orange versus orange, because all of your characters get both 3, and who cares if your opponent gets a tough 3, because they're flipping a bunch of their oranges, so it's never really going to ever benefit them on defense, but it's really nice for us attacking to be able to get that extra bit of bold. Now the next one coming as a 2-of is going to be the Scavenge the Battlefield. Another card coming in with Wave 3 is going to be an orange battle icon. It is a secret action, but this is really awesome, is when one of your characters is KO'd, then you can move any upgrade from that character onto one of your other characters. So it's going to be really nice if we happen to have a mounted missile, in the armor slot or utility slot, the Firecon Flame is really, really good. So it's okay if you do have one of these suit up a character that you're sending out essentially to die, then you know that after that character does get KO'd, you get to move all those upgrades over, and you still get to keep a lot of their perks. Really powerful card. Next one coming as a 3-of, again for a lot of those tougher matchups where you always seem to find yourself, 1 or 2 down, or even if you're going against a heavy blue deck, and you're just trying to get that last little bit of damage in, 1 shall stand, 1 shall fall is really nice. It gives a 3 out of 3 damage to one of your characters, but then it gets to hit one of their characters. And again, with Lionizer, if he happens to not go down from your opponent's attack, it's really easy to 1 shall stand your Lionizer. He takes the 3, turns into a weapon that gives you bold 4, and then you get to ping an opponent for 3 as well. It's really, really powerful stuff. And then finally coming in as a 1-of is going to be Ramming Speed. Now this is just designed in the sideboard just in case we do have more upgrades on our opponent's side, whether it's armors or more weapons and they're outpacing us. This is a really nice card to bring in to be able to fight that. Alrighty guys, so there is the deck, and then also a version 2 with the Lionizer and the Quartermaster coming in. I really hope that you guys did enjoy this deck profile video. Like I said, this deck is very fun to play, and you guys will be seeing gameplay of it going up against Dinobots, at least just because I think that's going to be really fun for us to do. The deck, like I said, is powerful and is very aggressive, but I will say is probably a mid-tier deck. This is no way going to be a very competitive deck. It just has a lot of holes in it, and to be honest with you, they just don't pump out enough damage for as much health as they have. If they had more health, I think the lower amount of damage would be fine, but the fact that they have kind of low health and do low damage is not really that beneficial. If you're into that more aggressive orange and you want the Decepticon feel and you want to do a lot of rush damage, a lot of aggro, I would definitely tell you to go with Constructicons or with obviously bugs. So like I said, I just wanted to let you guys know this is a super fun deck. It is a powerful deck, but it's probably a mid to some higher tier stuff. But like I said, again, as far as competitive goes, it is probably not going to be the end all be all best aggressive deck out there. I hope you guys did enjoy the deck profile video. Obviously, if you did, a like would be greatly appreciated. Make sure you guys subscribe for more, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.